Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
Thanks for
Turn on.
joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So I was just telling people a little bit about your background, having co-founded a pediatric dental practice with your husband and grown that. And then that was acquired. And now you've written a book and that's going to come out pretty soon. And I see that you just sent your website live a week or so
Yeah.
ago. Very exciting.
Yep, super exciting. So many moving parts. It's my new venture. They always say like once an entrepreneur, always like you always, got to stay busy and definitely have so much to give back and so much knowledge that I want to share with other women, especially moms or people working with their spouse, because it's not easy, but it is doable.
That's a great message, right?
Yeah.
I think, one of the things is that a lot of times we think we're doing it all wrong because it is hard, but that's just part of the process, right?
Right. Oh yeah. Like they always say, there's no success without struggle. And there's the cliche entrepreneurial sayings for a reason, because it's true. You have to fail, you have to learn, you have to make mistakes, delegate, elevate, like all of that is definitely right on.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited. I could really use a dose of the art of letting go today. So I can't wait to hear what you have to say about that topic. And maybe just if you have any like little tips or tricks that you think that we could incorporate that will help us sort of let go of some of that pressure and live our lives with a little bit more balance. I would love to hear that.
Oh my God. I think that's what my book is about now, is about balancing being a mom, a wife, self-care. Because if you don't have that balance and you just go on overdrive, just like a car, it eventually run out of gas,
Mm-hmm.
or, you're going to make everybody miserable around you. Right. So I always like to say happy mom, happy life, happy wife, happy,
Mm-hmm.
happy life, happy life. And it's so true. And as women, we're such yes people. So I had to really learn the art of letting go. My husband and I, I co-founded a pediatric dental group with him. We started with one office, and that same year I had my first child. And 6 months later, I found out I was pregnant with another baby. So my daughter was born that following year. And then 2 years after that, I had my third child. So I had 3 kids under the age of 3.
Wow.
And, for me, I love all my relationships, my friends, my family, my self-care. And it was, how do I balance and prioritize and let go of some of the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first one is, when you're a mom, you want to be the best mom. You want to be able to pick your kid up from school. You want to be able to work from home when they're sick. But that's not always the case, especially as an entrepreneur. The business needs you too, because they're your baby. And so I had to let go and say, you know what? Unfortunately, I can't pick up my son today. I had to, it takes a village to raise a family. And I had to call my parents like, hey, it's 5 o'clock. I really need you to help me with the babies. Can you stay later? Or, that's like the biggest thing is knowing that you can't do it all. Like you can't be at every event, and that's okay. Your kids will understand as long as you prioritize what's important. And for us, it was always like our faith, family, and then our business,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you also have to work in time for yourself. So one thing I wasn't going to let go is my own sanity and my own health. And I think we talked about this before, is I love to run. I love to work out. And it's more so that you have that hour to yourself. And people always say, well, how do you have time for that? You make time for the things that are important for you. And I think one of the biggest things of, being a business owner, being a mom, is prioritizing yourself. And I wake up an hour earlier so that I can do workouts. You can do it on your phone now. I have, my gym equipment. But letting go is hard because as women, we're also yes people.
Mm-hmm.
And the fear of missing out, FOMO, is real when you're invited to a party or a birthday party of your girlfriends in town, but you just had a long day of work, or, there's something going on with your kids, they're sick. And the art of sometimes saying no, it's hard. And especially myself, I want to be everywhere and be everything. And there was times, especially in the beginning, when I had basically 2 newborns, 2 kids, both in diapers, a growing business that needed me to be there all day, then switch my hats, became, you know, to be a mom. There was times when I had to say no. And that is part of letting go and setting boundaries, right? And letting people say, oh, well, why can't you come? And like, don't let people give you that guilt trip. You have to set boundaries and say, hey, you know what? Unfortunately, I have 2 babies that are going to wake up in the middle of the night. I need to be up early because I have to go to the gym or, you know, work out. And then I got to be at work. So there comes a point where you have to let go and say, I can't be at everything. I wish I could be at all, you know, the parties and, you know, even family events. There's just times where you just have to say no. And it's an art. And it's because the first time you do it, you're like, oh, I'm missing out. And then you see the pictures and you're like, I really wish I was there. But then you look back and you're like, but I got 8 hours of sleep, or I was able to like have energy the next day for my family, which is very important to me.
Yes. So you touched on some really, and I think that is very true. A lot of the women that I work with, whether they have children or not, they tend to uphold appointments and you know, things for other people with ease, but then holding those appointments for themselves is much more challenging, because then they kind of get overscheduled because they've said yes more than they actually have the energy or the capacity to do. And so if there's a way for us to clarify what it is that we do want to prioritize going into a week, going into a month, going into a quarter, etc. And in your case, you know, having a spouse that you were working with, like having that communication to be able to say, this is what we're going to prioritize before you get asked to go to those parties, those events, the, you know, promotional things, even for your business. Like sometimes you say no to those because there's balance there that you're trying to keep. So that's one of the things I know that I work with first with my clients, is really clarifying what it is that they want. So what are prioritized, what priorities, what are those boundaries? And it sounds like you and your husband have a real clear system for yourself. That helps you when you get asked a question, you know, out of the blue, then you can kind of quickly prioritize in your mind, like, does this fall into line with what our bigger vision is for ourselves? And yeah, and just holding that space, like you said, for yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you run out of energy, and that doesn't benefit your business or your family or any of the other things that you prioritize.
Right. Because then eventually you start losing everything, right? So you want to make everybody happy, but in the end, it will start crumbling down. And so what we do, one of the strategies is we have a family calendar. So as soon as someone asks me to, you know, can the kids have a play date, or can we do this birthday or this event, I look at the calendar and I already look, if there's something on that day, whoever asked first, it's a no. Because I've seen parents, they go from one birthday to the next birthday to another thing, and I'm exhausted. And I used to be like that. And my husband's like, whoa, we need to communicate. Let's talk about this. Like, we can't be all in the business Monday through Friday. Then our weekends are so jam-packed. When do we have time to just like watch TV or just to breathe or to relax? Which is why we travel a lot as well, because we kind of just want to get away and be like, oh, sorry, out of town, you know? But it's so true. And like, one of the biggest things that have helped us is having clear understanding of, okay, our families first, their kids' activities, and creating a calendar that him and I can both see. Because we like to split up our roles. There can't be two cooks in the kitchen, right? So I am the co-founder of the Pediatric Dental Group. He is the founder, the CEO. But I, at home, I am the CHO, the Chief Home Officer. Why? Because it is a lot. Like, people underestimate being a mom, having to plan dinners. What are we going to cook? What's the menu? Kids, their homework, their activities. Plus, like, we have our own separate friends. So my husband's like, I don't know the plans. Talk to my wife. And, you know, I mean, and that's another great way is if you have 2 alpha people in a household, number one, you have to have communication. And that is key, because then you start growing resentment or frustration towards one another, because you're saying yes to everything and you're stressing the other person out. If you haven't noticed, I'm probably the one who stresses my husband out, because he's more like the calm, like, yeah, babe, whatever you want to do, but make sure you look at our calendar so it's not so stressful. And I respect that and I understand that, but that took time, and it took me to let go. He's like, whatever, if I have to let go of whoever because I need my sleep and my sanity. I think men like function a little bit different, or his personality is not a people pleaser. He's like, no, I'm tired, I can't go. Whereas me, I'm like, oh, but I really want to go. I don't want to miss out, you know? And having that clear communication, I think everything in life is it boils down to communication, understanding, prioritization, and like having some form of calendar, even if it's like in your house, online, so that everybody sees what's going on and nobody feels like overwhelmed.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's all it's visually out there for everyone to access.
Yeah. Exactly.
Literally on the same page or the same calendar. That's helpful.
Yeah.
So with that, along with that communication, I'm kind of curious, because we're talking about letting go, meaning that you can't do it all, right? And so you're going to need to tell people no from time to time that you're not available. Do you have any like specific tricks on how to gracefully say I'm not available? Did you kind of like have a script for yourself, or?
You know what? I believe in life, everything is about telling the truth, right? So when you tell the truth and you're genuinely like sorry that you can't make it, look, I would love to be it. In business, they call it the poop sandwich, the sandwich. I don't know. I don't know if I could curse, but basically you give them the good, the bad, and then the good again. So, oh my God, your birthday sounds amazing. I would love to be there. And then the negative is, unfortunately, that weekend we're just completely booked. I can't even lie to you and tell you that I could fit one more thing, because we're just going to be exhausted and it's not going to be fun for anybody, right? And then lastly is, but don't worry, we're going to celebrate another time. And that's usually what I did. And so that's like one of the biggest tricks is, okay, let's say I missed a bridal shower. And I of course, I hate to miss them, but if I'm out of town or it just conflicted with too many things in my schedule, I've actually taken that person out like by themselves and said, hey, you know what? I can't make it to the big event, but I promise you, for me, it's more important that I have like that one-on-one, and that always solidifies the relationships. And I'm really good at that, and doing it on a time that works for both of us. That's like another trick.
Yeah. So that you don't feel completely that you've let this person down. You're just kind of waiting for the right moment for you all to get together.
Exactly.
And, depending on the friend and the situation, maybe you get together for a walk or a run or something that is like healthy for both of you. It doesn't have to be a big party or whatever.
No, it never is. It's usually either, okay, let's go to, I love doing Pure Barre. It's this workout. So let's do a Pure Barre class together and we'll go have coffee afterwards. Again, it doesn't have to be something big, but I think what people see the most is your effort, right? So after building our business for 10 years, one of the biggest feedback that I keep getting to this day is, Richelle, I don't know how you kept it together, but I'm so proud of you of how you've been able to still maintain your relationships. And that's one thing that a lot of moms struggle with. And I see it. I'm the glue who really keeps a lot of the friendships together, because to me it's so important. And I get it. People can't handle too many things. And if I have to be the planner and I have to take the lead in the role, just so we can all get together, because you know how friends are. It doesn't matter if it's been 2 years since you've talked, a year, or seen each other. Your true friends are the ones who are always going to still be there and understand that life happened, right? Either you got married, you went through hard time in your life, like you lose a job, and maybe you didn't want to see anybody for a few months. And I think finding the right people to be with, especially at this age, that can uplift you, support you, and understand you. Now, if you're getting that person who's always like so negative and really just always giving you the guilt trip, then I think it's time to move on from that person as well, because that's just going to drain you more. And that's part of letting go, like letting go of maybe that friendship for a little bit until they can understand, because that is so draining to always have to explain yourself.
Right. And that I think is a bit of a gauge. and maybe certain people feel it differently than others, but if you're anticipating something that feels draining, like a lot of the things you've talked about are like, they sound wonderful and exciting.
Yeah.
Also those things that we need to say no to, because literally it's like, we want to do that. We want that person to feel respected and appreciated for the offer or whatnot, but we know that that thing is going to be draining on us. And so being able to recognize that in advance and let that go and say no
Right.
is important. And then I want to touch in on what you're saying, though, about you being kind of the connector and the one who organizes things, keeps the relationships together. And just to note that, like, not everyone's going to be like that, but you can find someone within your friend group, within your business, within your partnership, and kind of figure out who is the person who's the right one to kind of keep that ball rolling. Mm-hmm. And that can also take a little bit of pressure off you, so you can sort of let go of the perfectionist piece of like feeling like you have to always be the one who.
So I'm really big on delegating and elevating. So I may start it, but once I start it, I let go. And because my friends were really like close, and you're on like chat groups, right? So, hey, let's set a date. So I lead it and I say, okay, let's set the date. And then everybody starts, okay, we're going to go to this restaurant. So it's really good that I have a good group of girlfriends that now they start to take the lead. Maybe just someone had to just say, all right, guys, no more like back and forth. Let's pick a date. Someone volunteers their house, or where we're going to eat, or whatever we're going to do. Mm-hmm. But I definitely agree, if you're that case where you're planning everything like that, that is draining. But in my case particular, I lead and I start it, and then I take the back seat, because I also, as like a business owner, and that's the same way as an entrepreneur, right? The art of letting go of a task that you really were so good at and you love, but you could be used somewhere else. I had to let those go and say, you know what? I'm going to train them. I'm going to trust them, guide them, and just do check-ins. And that's how you can let go. And a lot of business owners I see, they like to have control over everything. And at the end of the day, then you're not giving someone the autonomy to make decisions, and they always have to go through you. And something that I think my husband and I are both really good at is like letting go of the things that are taking up time that we know that we can delegate, elevate someone, and really push them into like a leadership role. And it's a really a good feeling when you can teach people and you let go and you're like, oh my God, it wasn't that bad. Like, I left it with the right person, right? Now, if you let go and it's more frustrating as a business owner, okay, I've delegated to the wrong person. Mm-hmm. Let's change their seat on the bus and put them where they best shine, and have somebody else do that. So that's more like the business side.
Right. Yeah. Yes. And that in particular with my clients, a lot of times I'm working with helping them bring in additional support, because they're kind of in the space of providing the service to their clients, right. And they need to sort of step back so that they can manage the business better, right. And accelerate growth of the business. And that's where their time and their is going to be optimized, as opposed to actually doing some of the lower value tasks or services in the business. So delegating is super important. And I think one of the things that prevents women business owners from doing that is one, kind of that sense of protection and control, that they could do it better, faster.
Right. I've been there.
Yeah, like we
it's
all
true.
do. Absolutely. But then once you kind of see what's going on there in that pattern, and you know that you need to bring someone in, I also think there's a little paralysis around feeling that you have to train this person perfectly, right, in order for them to do the role. But what I've really seen work well in the letting go piece is putting someone in that position and having more communication, more check-in at the beginning of their role, and documenting all of those, and having them document, right, what you've discussed in the processes, so you can see that you can see what they've processed or what they've heard from the conversation, and you can course correct, right, a little along the way. But just really that delegation thing is a habit and a tweaking yeah. And like a continual process. So it's great that you point that out, that like you can you can lead, start the task, whether it's with friends, coworkers,
Right.
etc., even kids, and you can give them the autonomy to complete the details of that going forward. So
Yes, and yeah, no, you hit it on the nail, like both professionally and you just, the last piece you just said is kids. And I do the same thing with my kids, right? So you elevate them, you delegate, because if not, you get overwhelmed. And it's not a weakness to show that you need help,
mhm.
right? So a lot of business owners and moms, it's like, no, but I can't let that go. Like, I don't want to show that I can't do it anymore. If there's a night, I cook 5 days out of the week. But if there's a night where I'm just like so tired, kids have so many things going on, work was busy, I am not going to be afraid to say, guys, we are doing Uber Eats tonight. Like, but there are some moms who are like, no, no, I can't. It's so unhealthy. We can't do this. Okay, you can choose healthier choices. There's so many different options that you have. But I see, especially for women, it's the
Right.
perfectionist, the judging. Oh my God, but what are they going to think of me? There comes an age, and it happens usually, I think, around your 30s or 40s, where this happened for me, where I just didn't care about what people thought anymore. Like, you're going to judge me. I care about what I think, what my family thinks of me. But at the end of the day, I can't be stressed out, like trying to be this perfect mom, business owner, wife, everything. We all make mistakes. We learn and grow. And, and we learn to let go.
Yes, we do. And one of the ways I share that with my clients is the idea of aiming for a B minus rather than an A
Yes.
plus, which is very difficult sometimes for them in here because they've been, great students and excelled at everything in life, and they kind of have to let go a little bit and aim for an 80% success rate rather than 110% like they've been kind of pushing towards. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think the more you take on, you realize that that's life experience, that you really can't be everything to everyone. And you've got to kind of ground yourself a little bit so that you can be the best you can in the most important areas for you rather than a little bit everywhere and kind of scattered.
No.
So,
Yeah, that's true. Like, I mean, the best example is like my kids, they're old enough now. They're 11, 10, and 8. They make their lunches in the morning. It's really not hard to get a Tupperware, get some fruit, put it in, and like it's my littlest daughter, she's 8, and she has learned like I can help mommy. And if I can help mommy, mommy's gonna be able to do other things that she needs to prepare for us right before school. So I mean, delegating, elevating, letting go, where before I was trying to do everything. I was trying to make them breakfast, like a home cooked breakfast, make them lunch, feed the dog, walk the dog, do all this stuff. And I'm like, wait a second, I'm getting burnt out. And then I'm short with the kids. And I'm like, wait. I always look in the mirror first and say, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing that I'm not being a good leader? And I realize I'm like, I need to let go of me making lunches. These kids, you take 2 pieces of bread, you put turkey, cheese. Like, I have it systemized where in my pantry, it's like, here's the chip drawer, here's the apple fruit drawer. All you have to, it's like going into a grocery store. You grab one fruit, one chip, one main meal, a yogurt. And let me tell you, that has been game changer. I hear a lot of moms saying, but I can't do that because I got to wake up. I got to make them breakfast. I got to do them lunch. I'm like, your child is going to be 11, 12 years old. No, you need to delegate, because at the end of the day, you're the one like so stressed out. Like, let it go.
from Frozen. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's easier said than done. You just got to take the first step.
Yeah, absolutely. You've given us a lot of great tips and things to think about in regards to letting go and recognizing that it's an art and a practice. It's not a switch that you turn on and off.
Right.
It's a continual thing. So I know people are looking forward to your book coming out, The Power Couple. Can you tell us anything about that and the work that you've started on your website?
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you for asking. So, when my husband and I were working together, we worked together for 10 years to build our practice. I would literally Google how to work with your husband, how not to kill him when he's driving you crazy. No, and this is real. Like, I think people need to be genuinely honest. Like, not everybody can work together.
Oh, no.
And once we successfully were acquired in 2021, we look back and we're like, oh my God, we did it. We're still married. We love each other so much more because we are the power couple. We kept our priorities in line, God, family, and business. And I wrote a book, and it took me about 3-4 months to write the book about what is the secret sauce in working with your spouse. How do you also take care of yourself? And how do you also be a good mother, right? Slash friends, like all the self-care that you need to do. So that's what my book is about. I think it's going to help so many people, whether you are thinking about going into business or you're already in business. You know, I feel like after COVID, so many people did like a redirect in their life. And it's not just for couples. It also talks about how you start a business, right? How do you build team culture, hiring? So it's a business slash like self-help memoir book. And there's not one person. I feel like men and women could benefit from both because I talk about some of our highs and our lows. And I started my website and my brand, Richelle Peña, .com, because I really want to empower women that I am nobody special. Everybody says like, oh, but how do you do this? You're just like crazy. You're just special. And there is a secret to the success of how you can live a balanced life. And so in my website, I'm going to have my blog there where I talk about everything from lifestyle to family to business. Being a lifestyle leader, everyone can be a leader in their own life. You don't have to sit back and just like watch life pass you by and like look at people's Instagrams or their lives and say, oh, I wish I could live like that. No, you can take control of your life. And so that's why I started my brand, because I don't just talk the talk. I walked the walk. Like everything you could think of, I've probably been there, done that. And I want to give back because I hear the same questions over and over again. And that's when I decided, you know what? I need to start something. I need to start somewhere. And that's where I started, is building my brand, my website, so I can eventually like land more talks and be part of, you know, big groups that can help empower women and share a different side of a story. And we did it through healthcare. So
that's great. That's definitely much needed, much needed. So
thank you.
That's coming out and a resource for people. And they can also find you on your website, richellepena.com. Anything else you want to share before we head out?
Yeah, no, it was such a great conversation. I think it's one that nobody really like talks about, like letting go. And I really encourage everyone to stay connected and find something that you love. Follow people that really are going to inspire and motivate you, and, you know, have a good support system throughout the process. And, you know, it makes letting go of certain things a lot easier.
Yeah, agreed. Find a support system. If you don't have it in family and friends, reach out. There are wonderful coaches out there, and you can always usually have a conversation 1 or 2 times at least for most to find out if you're a good fit. So if you have any questions for either of us, don't hesitate to reach out on Instagram or via our websites, which are our names for both of us. All right. Thanks so much, Richelle.
No, thank you so much for having me. Bye.
Bye.